Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening and thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Extreme winds and dangerous fire conditions have eased a bit in Los Angeles, giving fire teams an advantage in containing multiple fires still burning. The death toll remains at 25 people, with the search through fire-decimated areas still ongoing. Maribel Gonzalez is in Altadena, where some families are struggling to find a home base to begin their recovery.
This historically destructive Palisades fire, nearly a quarter contained as of midday, with fire crews making ground. 3 other blazes now between half and total containment, as monitored by CAL FIRE. Not as contained, rising frustrations among many fire victims who want access into their devastated communities.
The repopulation of residents in the evacuation order areas will not occur for at least 1 more week for the areas that are deemed safe.
The U.S. EPA has been tasked by FEMA to conduct Phase 1 household hazardous materials removal in the burn footprint. We are beginning this work today.
Some have made it back to the ashes of their homes.
It's just gone. Everything is just gone.
This Altadena family, like so many others, scrambling to find affordable temporary housing.
These rentals literally cost twice as more than my mortgage. What?
Airbnb and a number of large hotel chains in the region are now offering displaced residents low or no charge accommodations. California's governor signed an executive order today allowing mobile and manufactured homes and RVs to be used as housing outside of designated mobile and RV parks during rebuilding. A potential path forward for those left with nothing but hope.
It's going to be okay. You know, mommy and daddy did it once. We can do it again.
In Altadena, California, Maribel Gonzalez, KPBS News.
The LA fires could have an impact on California's insurance market. Coming up, we look into what it could mean for homeowners in San Diego County.
Well, tonight we're dropping down to the upper 40s and staying clear. Now, of course, the big story has been Santa Ana winds and the fire danger. We do have some changes on the way concerning these topics, so I'll break all of that down coming up.
Local organizations say that they remain cautiously optimistic about a potential ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. The terms of the agreement are expected to be finalized today. They include the release of at least 33 October 7th hostages, as well as hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Our media partner, KGTV, spoke to both the House of Israel and House of Palestine, who told them that the deal gives them hope after 15 months of agony.
What has it been like for you since the start of the war?
I would say it has changed everything. For us, the ground has shifted under our feet since October 7th.
Yes, we're happy that some kind of ceasefire agreement was reached. However, we are optimistic and we need to move forward and ensure that people can exist freely.
Both women agree that peace will depend on everyone finding common ground. If the ceasefire is finalized, it will begin this Sunday. Imperial Beach is proposing new tenant protections after mass evictions hit the city late last year. But KPBS South Bay reporter Corey Suzuki says the city council stopped short of actually halting those evictions.
The proposed law was unveiled on Wednesday at the City Council's regular meeting. It'll tighten the definition of certain types of evictions and raise the amount of rental assistance that landlords of big apartment complexes need to give to their tenants. It would also require landlords to start reporting eviction data to the city. This comes after the owners of 2 large apartment complexes in Imperial Beach began issuing eviction notices in recent months. Dozens of renters there hoped the City Council would intervene. But the proposed law is not retroactive and will not affect those renters or halt their evictions. Brenda Bautista lives at the Sussex Gardens apartments. She received an eviction notice last week.
It's like our elected officials turned their backs on us and did not support us at all. And we gave them enough time to do these votes. And so, yeah, it might help protect others, but it's not protecting me.
Imperial Beach Mayor Paloma Aguirre says a stronger ordinance wouldn't have had enough support among city leadership. Even this version was opposed by 2 council members.
To the residents of Hawaiian Gardens and Sussex, I'm sorry we couldn't help you.
The city council will vote on the proposed protections in the coming weeks. In Imperial Beach, Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
District 5 San Diego County Supervisor Jim Desmond has announced his candidacy for Congress in the 49th District. The North County leader and former San Marcos mayor of 12 years emphasized how the cost of living in the state has driven working families and seniors out of California. In his announcement, he added that the government needs leaders who will focus on solutions for immigration, public safety, and homelessness. The 49th Congressional District covers Orange counties and the local communities of Oceanside, Vista, Encinitas, and Carlsbad. Well, voter turnout overall was down in November, but in some places in San Diego County, President-elect Donald Trump actually gained votes. iNews Source reporter Sofia Mejias Pasco has the story.
Vice President Kamala Harris won a majority of votes in San Diego County, but overall she lost votes compared to Joe Biden's win in 2020. And while Harris lost support, Trump actually gained support in some places. That includes San Isidro and nearby Chula Vista, both predominantly Latino communities. In November, Trump gained 12 and 7 percentage points in San Isidro and Chula Vista, respectively, compared to his vote share in 2020. Leonard Quinn of San Isidro Feed and Supply is among those looking forward to the next 4 years.
I'm excited, and I can't wait to see how much my taxes drop. I can't wait to hear all my buddies that are looking for jobs telling me they got jobs.
And Quinn's not alone. Experts say the shift could be part of a national trend among conservative Latinos moving to the Republican Party. Here's University of San Diego professor Casey Dominguez.
There are Latinos that have more conservative attitudes about race and immigration, and those may have helped some of those folks align themselves with the Republican Party that has more conservative views about those issues in particular.
For KPBS, I'm iNews Source reporter Sofia Mejias Pasco.
iNews Source is an independently funded nonprofit partner of KPBS, and to see maps of how voting shifted across the region, you can go to kpbs.org/voteshift.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, how Gazans are reacting to the news of a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. That's at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Plans to build a protected bike path from La Mesa to central San Diego have hit a setback. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says it comes as inflation continues to impact the cost of infrastructure.
So what we'll see here is, a number of just hazardous conditions.
I meet Anar Salayev, executive director of Bike SD, at the corner of University Avenue and 54th Street.
So University Avenue, biking on it, walking on it, honestly even driving on it is a nightmare.
It's a high-traffic, high-speed area, not a safe environment for anyone outside a car.
Very wide lanes, very difficult for bicyclists to, ride along with traffic. A lot of them do, in fact, ride on the sidewalks, which then poses a hazard for pedestrians.
For more than a decade, San Diego County's transportation agency, SANDAG, has planned to build protected bike lanes here, 3 miles from La Mesa to City Heights, where it'll connect with a much larger bike network throughout San Diego. The project also includes improvements for pedestrians and transit riders along the highest ridership bus route in the whole county.
And it would, at the same time, most importantly, calm traffic, which would thus make all these other improvements exponentially better. And as really the only east-west corridor from the mid-city neighborhoods to La Mesa, it's certainly one that we should invest in and make it safer for everybody going to and fro those regions.
But the University Bikeway hit a snag last month. Construction bids came in over budget. SANDAG decided to reject all of them and start the bidding process over, hopefully by the spring.
The costs are crazy. They're just insane for these bike projects.
Solana Beach Mayor and SANDAG SANDAG board chair, Lisa Huebner, says bike projects are more than just bike projects. They can involve totally reconstructing the road and sidewalk or relocating underground utilities. But despite the growing price tag, Huebner says SANDAG has to deliver on the projects it has promised.
When I see bike projects, I see them as a public safety enhancement for our communities. A lot of more people are riding bikes, especially with e-bikes on the rise. And so we need to have that public infrastructure that's going to get people to and from wherever they want to go safely.
Right now, SANDAG is tweaking the University Bikeway's design to allow lower cost building materials like plastic posts instead of concrete curbs. San Diego City Council member Sean Ela Rivera, whose district includes the project area, says that should be the norm in future bike projects.
We can do better to look at the low-cost, quick option first, because there are multiple benefits to doing that. We get more projects done, the projects provide the benefit more quickly to the community, and I think that those are benefits well worth pursuing as a default, not as a sometimes.
The new timeline for the University Bikeway leaves little room for error. Part of the project is funded by state grants that have to be awarded by the end of June. If SANDAG misses that deadline, it'll have to send that money back to Sacramento. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
Well, tax season is right around the corner. The IRS says January 27th is the first day the agency will start accepting and processing 2024 income tax returns. As millions of Americans start preparing to file, Ivan Rodriguez reports on what's new for this year and what to keep in mind.
This tax season, the IRS expects more than 140 million individual tax returns to be filed ahead of the April 15th federal deadline. Lisa Green-Lewis with TurboTax says before getting started, there's a few things to keep in mind.
Gather your W-2s, 1099s that report your income, and then also those receipts for anything that's deductible.
Although the official deadline to file your return is in April, millions of Americans won't be up against that timeline. Your filing deadline may be different if you live or do business in a federally declared disaster area. For example, the IRS announced that Southern California wildfire victims now have until October 15th to file federal, individual, or business tax returns and make tax payments. Similarly, because of the devastation wrought by Hurricane Helene and Milton, all taxpayers in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, as well as parts of Tennessee and Virginia, have until May 1st to file their returns and pay any tax due.
I would just keep in mind if you were impacted that you could claim the casualty on your 2024 taxes.
The IRS also says its pilot direct file program will now be open in 25 states, up from 12 last year when it launched. For those eligible, it'll allow people to file their taxes directly with the IRS for free. If you're wondering what the point is of filing early, experts say you could get your tax refund sooner. Another reason is if you have any owed taxes, you could prepare that payment since it won't be due until the filing deadline. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Truckloads of food donations are packed and ready to send to Los Angeles County residents impacted by the recent wildfires. Feeding San Diego is sending 33,000 pounds of food and water to LA early tomorrow morning. Over 20,000 of those were donated by the local community. The chief operating officer, Patty O'Connor, tells us that they are needing for future deliveries.
Anything that doesn't have to be refrigerated or cooked, such as ready-to-eat meals like pop-top ravioli, for example, or pop-top chicken or tuna, cereals, small cereal boxes are great, or the little small containers. Protein bars are really helpful, and snacks, actually.
Feeding San Diego says that there is no set date yet for the next shipment, and in the meantime, it will continue accepting donations. Before the fires in Los Angeles erupted, the home insurance market was already rocky. Now thousands of claims are flooding the system. KPBS reporter Tanya Thorne has been covering the cancellations, and she joins us now. Welcome, Tanya.
Thanks, Maya. It's been devastating to watch the fires in Los Angeles, especially when the insurance market was so shaky, and many homeowners were forced to decrease their coverage or even forego getting insurance altogether. Here is some background.
Companies like Farmers Insurance, Allstate, and State Farm were offloading California clients and canceling policies because of the fire risks. So what homeowners were left with were little options, such as limited coverage at double or even triple the cost. Some were pushed to the insurer of last resort, the California Fair Plan for fire coverage.
Limited coverage at a higher cost. You pay more and you get less in terms of coverage. And so getting people back to the regular market is our top priority.
That's Deputy Insurance Commissioner Michael Soler. Their office has been working on stabilizing the insurance market, and on December 31st, the insurance commissioner announced new regulations. If insurance companies wanted to continue doing business in California, they would need to start writing policies in fire risk areas again.
And we're going to be implementing in these just coming months all of these new rules so that insurance companies can get back to doing what they should be doing, writing policies for Californians in every corner of the state, including those who do have that risk of wildfire.
The very event insurance companies feared is playing out in Los Angeles. Entire communities wiped out and millions in damages from wildfires. Soler thinks that thousands of filed claims will see a payout.
Yes, we are confident insurance companies are going to pay the claims. We're going to be staying on this, to make sure that insurance claims are paid fairly, fully, quickly. Getting money back into people's pockets right now is essential. And that includes for people who have evacuated. If you're under mandatory evacuation, you can get help with rental benefits.
What is yet to be discovered is how these events will impact the return of the insurance market in California and their rates. Dave Jones is a former insurance commissioner and currently the director of the Climate Risk Initiative at UC Berkeley Center for Law, Energy, and the Environment.
And this is only going to make things worse. We can expect, even before these wildfires, that we're going to see tremendous increases in insurance prices.
He thinks we should first hold the insurance companies accountable for what they agreed to do, which is to come back to the California market. But in return, we will be seeing higher rates for coverage. And there is still the matter of addressing climate change as well as maintenance of fire risk areas.
It's a sad and tragic consequence of our failure to transition away from fossil fuels and other greenhouse gas emitting industries, which are driving global temperature increases, driving more extreme and severe weather-related events, like these massive infernos that are befalling California.
Tanya, thank you so much for that report. And I know it's still a little too early to tell how insurance is going to deal with the aftermath, as well as how the rates might change going forward. But what can homeowners expect?
Obviously these fires have gotten global attention, Maya, and I think it's a learning experience for everyone. I think homeowners can expect to put more protections in their home, which is sometimes their lifelong investment. So homeowners can put in things like fire sprinklers, right? We've seen that fire sprinklers were what saved a lot of the homes in the recent fires, as well as brush clearing and home hardening solutions that they can put in. So I think homeowners will be working on those things and seeing what they can do to protect their homes. Now, I spoke to the Deputy Insurance Commissioner, and he said that he thinks insurances will also be asking for these things if they want to make a comeback to the California market. So they're going to be asking for maintenance of land as well from the county, the city, and the utility companies to make sure that they are doing the work to prevent any of these fires and prevent events like the ones happening in Los Angeles.
And Tanya, insurance was already doubling and sometimes tripling before any of this. So what about those that could not afford coverage then and probably will not be able to in the future?
So mortgages already require homeowners insurance policies. So some sources say that this could be pushing homeownership even further away from up and coming generations, those looking to become homeowners here in California. If you don't know the price of what your insurance will cost you, it's hard to think about buying a home, mortgage and insurance costs, utilities, everything that goes with owning a home. And, we have to think about the seniors on fixed incomes. How do they afford these tripling insurance rates? And seniors are obviously older, so some of them don't have a mortgage anymore. And we did see a lot of cases where they didn't go with any homeowners insurance. Now, in the cases of Los Angeles and their fires there, the insurance commissioner does think that will be some federal assistance. But of course, with the incoming Trump administration, we don't know what kind of assistance California will be getting on these fires. And now, going forward, the Deputy Insurance Commissioner also did tell me that he hopes to put in some grants in place to help seniors and low-income families to help pay for some of the rates, as well as home hardening solutions. So hopefully things start to get better and we see a comeback of these insurances and no more wildfires in the area.
Yes, hopefully not. We're going to wait and see. Tanya, thank you so much for the information.
Thank you.
Well, we are getting a much needed break from the stronger Santa Ana winds that we've been dealing with over the last week or so, but the break won't last forever, unfortunately. Now, looking ahead to the weekend, we will have some low clouds Saturday morning to start things off, and temperatures, we're seeing kind of seesaw temperatures, right? Going back and forth, colder to warmer. So let's break down exactly what to expect. First, starting with tonight's temperatures, dropping down to 43 in Oceanside, 48 for San Diego, 42 for Borrego Springs, and a chilly 29 for Mount Laguna there. Tomorrow, we're seeing plenty of sunshine, some clouds mixed in on the coast here. 63 is your high in Oceanside, 62 for San Diego, 70 for Borrego Springs there, and 42 for Mount Laguna. Let's talk about the next 5 days, right? So on the coast, we're going to continue to see kind of a mix of sun and clouds. Remember, Saturday morning, that's when we're going to be dealing with some of the low clouds. And the break for the Santa Ana winds, that's going to last through at least Sunday night. But then we start to see those winds come back and go back to an increased fire danger. So the break is needed, especially with the wildfires going on a little bit further north in the LA area, but don't let your guard down quite yet because they are coming back. Now, temperature-wise for the next 5 days, we're at 63 for your Friday. We cool down to 61 by the time we get to Sunday, and then warm back up to 65 for Monday and Tuesday. These are the seesaw temperatures that I was talking about, right? Kind of back and forth. Further inland, 63 for your Friday, 62 by the time we get to Sunday, and then back up to 70 for your Tuesday with plenty of sunshine to enjoy. So look forward to that Tuesday. In the mountains, we're at 42 for your Friday, dropping down to the low 40s for your Sunday and back up to the mid 40s by the time we get to Tuesday. And our desert 5-day outlook is kind of the exception here, right? We're just seeing a cooling trend for the most part, but not by a lot, just a few degrees here. 70 for your Friday, down to 68 by Sunday, and then down to the mid 60s for your Monday and your Tuesday. Mostly sunny across the board, just seeing partly cloudy skies for your Sunday. For KPBS News, I'm AccuWeather's Anna Azalian.
Director David Lynch has died. Lynch is known for his unique and surrealistic films and TV shows, including Blue Velvet and Twin Peaks. His first feature film was the cult classic Eraserhead, which he followed up with the commercial hit The Elephant Man. Lynch's family confirmed his death today but did not provide a cause. He was 78 years old. And KPBS's Beth Accomando interviewed Lynch a few years ago and shared her personal tribute to him. You can find that interview and tribute on kpbs.org. There was a time when scientists from around the world were very excited and just a bit nervous about something going on in our county. It was the final phase of a project that would change the world of astronomy forever. And as Ken Kramer shows us in this story about San Diego, the last few miles of the journey were a real challenge.
There's a crowd gathered here for an unveiling. You ready? Here we go. It says Highway to the Stars, and that's exactly what this road through Valley Center here used to be called. And why? Well, back more than 70 years.
Palomar Mountain had been selected years previously after many observations as an ideal site for a telescope.
Yes, but look at the road to get up to the dome at Mount Palomar, twisting, turning. Now imagine trying to get the most valuable piece of glass in history, something planned for and worked for years, the centerpiece of the Palomar telescope, its 200-inch reflecting mirror, getting it up this road.
And the 2 days required to move the mirror were only scheduled after the weatherman had promised ideal California sunshine.
It was a hold your breath, anything can happen adventure. Oh, and it was raining.
Finally, after years of patient effort, the heart of the telescope is pulled safely into the shelter of the huge protecting dome.
It's hard for us to appreciate today, I think, what a big deal this telescope was, how crowds came out to see the mirror go by, how many who lived or worked along the route identified with the pride of this scientific achievement. So much so, they started calling it the Highway to the Stars. You were going up to see the telescope, or you saw signs reminding you that you were on the Highway to the Stars. Today, we think of it as County Road S6. From Escondido right through Valley Center and then twisting and turning thousands of feet up to the crystal clear air of that magnificent mountaintop. And look, the signs are coming back. The Valley Center History Museum, Historical Society, and Community Planning Group is reviving that old name. They've placed new signs along the route. It's a nod to history, a celebration of scientific triumph, and a renewed tribute to something internationally famous about San Diego.
And Ken Kramer has a half hour of stories every week about San Diego. You can see them Thursday nights at 8 o'clock here on KPBS. And here is a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. In the Los Angeles wildfires, private firefighters have been hired by insurance companies and wealthy residents to protect homes and businesses. NPR's Morning Edition takes a look at who they are and what they do. And KPBS Roundtable will continue the discussion surrounding uncertainty in California's insurance market following the LA fires. And be sure to add KPBS to your playlist. We have daily content from our newsroom with San Diego News Now and Media Midday Edition. Just search for KPBS on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you.